Welcome to the West Ham Voice. Thank you for joining me. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week and still no sign of our third summer signing of this window. And I did a show the other day asking what on earth is the delay. And I won't lie. I mean, I'm a patient guy, but even I'm getting rather frustrated at still not seeing anything happening in the transfer window. We keep being told that we're very busy in the background, but I want that business, that very busy, to become actual signings, and I'm sure we all do. Now, just about every West Ham fans believes, or has been led to believe, that we're going to be signing Mads Hermansen from Leicester City this week. We've been told, on a regular occurrence that he's due to be signing. Even Leicester City fans have more or less unanimously suggested that the goalie is en route to West Ham. Now, on Tuesday, Leicester announced the signing of veteran keeper Asmir Begovic to Leicester City. And many fans believe that this is clearly the catalyst for Hermansen to be leaving the club. But is he leaving for West Ham? Of all the keepers named throughout this transfer window that have been linked to West Ham, it's been Hermansen's name that keeps coming up over and over again. He's been linked to us continuously through this window. We've had other goalies linked, but Hermansen's the one that has been continuously linked. He's yet to appear in any Leicester pre-season friendlies, and it's been suggested by new coach, Leicester City coach Martí Cifuentes, that this is because the goalie is recovering from a groin injury that he picked up at the end of May. Now, if true, and if Leicester have no plans to sell the player, then I expect he'll be back between the sticks for Leicester pretty soon. But then why sign Begovic if that's the case? Now, many believe it's a bit of a smokescreen and he will be a West Ham player sooner rather than later. And I think we all wish that it's sooner rather than later. But Hermansen aside, two stories that were of interest this week are links to two young goalkeepers who are plying their trade in the Dutch League and in the Championship. Robin Roefs, the 22-year-old keeper at Dutch club NEC Nijmegen, and 20-year-old keeper Piers Charles of Sheffield Wednesday are interesting links. You see, for me, they're links. They're probably keepers who are for the future rather than ready-made to challenge Alphonse Areola for the main goalkeeping role in the starting lineup at West Ham. Which begs the following questions. Firstly, are West Ham sticking with Areola and looking to find a good backup, a good up-and-coming keeper who could potentially replace the 32-year-old French international over time? Or are West Ham United about to sign Hermansen and are probably looking for a young keeper to come in as Hermansen's backup because it's quite possible that Areola may not stick around? Both very plausible scenarios. Now, look, let's look at Areola for a moment. Despite his errors, he is an experienced goalkeeper who, if the new goalkeeping coaches can get into his head to find a way of alleviating the errors that he's been making of late, then he could still be of great value to West Ham, leading into what's going to be quite a crucial season for us. Now, if he stays, having a young keeper who is highly thought of and one who can become Areola's backup in this coming season is a possible, scenario. A possible successor to him in the season to come make an awful lot of sense. Alternatively, if we do sign Hermansen, as I've just mentioned, Areola knows that Hermansen at 25 is not being brought in to be Areola's backup. He's likely to consider that his playing days, Areola's playing days at West Ham would be numbered if Hermansen comes in. Hence the potential for being prepared to move on. And if Areola does move on, then Hermansen would need to have a backup in the squad. But what about the academy players that we've got at West Ham? We've got quite a few West Ham keepers on our books. There's Christian Heggie, highly thought of, highly rated, 22-year-old Hungarian keeper who's been with West Ham since 2021 and is on contract with the club until 2027. He only recently signed a further extension to his contract. But as we've seen with previous keepers, academy keepers, they sign an extension in order for their value to go up slightly more in order to be sold. So the fact that he signed an extension till 2027 doesn't necessarily mean that Heggie is going to be kept on. He's had a number of spells out on loan over the past few years, some more successful than others. His recent spell at Hungarian club Debreceni saw him make 7 appearances, but it was his spell prior to that. He was at Motherwell before that. He didn't get a look in, but there was a spell prior to that at Dutch club FC Den Bosch, where he had a very successful campaign when at the time he helped the club to avoid relegation. He kept six clean sheets in 17 games. Now, he's been selected for the Hungarian senior squad, but yet to make an appearance. But he has made 25 appearances for the under-21 Hungarian national team. Now, from the videos and photos shown of all the players, all the squad out in America, I haven't noticed Heggie. He may be there, but I haven't seen him in any videos. I haven't seen him in any photos. Other keepers, such as Mason Terry, who's had a very successful loan spell at Hornchurch, is ready to go out on loan again next season. And of course, there's under-18s keeper, Lanre Awesu, who is out in America. We've seen the photos of him. Now, it's good for him to get the experience of being around the first team, but I don't think even he is quite ready to step up into the number 2 slot behind whether it be Areola or whether it be Hermansen. Now, perhaps it isn't quite the time for any of our keepers to step up, hence the links to the 2 players that I've mentioned, Roefs and Charles. But what about them? What about, let's look at them in a bit more detail. Let's start with Roefs, first of all. He developed under the NEC Nijmegen Academy, was promoted into the senior squad as far as 21-22 season. However, it was last season where he made his mark when, in addition to the handful of games that he played before last season, he was the first choice keeper. He made 33 appearances last season and kept 10 clean sheets. But one thing that every fan is asking is, when we're linked to a keeper, does the keeper have a much better ball distribution than Areola? And is he commanding in his 18-yard box, which are the two main criticisms of Areola? Now, as far as Roefs is concerned, the 6'4" keeper has got a composed presence. He's got sharp reflexes. He dominates aerial duels and is commanding in the penalty area. His reflexes are prominent, especially in one-on-ones and close-range saves. He's extremely comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he favours short passes to initiate build-up plays. So, as we've all been asking, can he play as a bit of a sweeper keeper? He's got great positioning. Another key aspect is he's very vocal and he's very assertive in the 18-yard box. Now, he's currently the Netherlands under-21 keeper with 10 appearances to date. Now, he's valued at around £5 million, which is extremely affordable. Now, I don't know, perhaps, maybe, if brought in, and if we keep Areola, he could really push Areola for the number 1 spot sooner rather than later. But what about Charles? What about Pierce Charles? Well, the 20-year-old keeper was originally Man City Youth Academy, but he swiftly moved to Sheffield Wednesday 5 years ago when he was around 15. Now, just like Roefs at Nijmegen, last season was the keeper's breakthrough season, where he made 13 appearances at the tail end of that season. In the 13 senior games last season, he did only keep 1 clean sheet, but he's been highly renowned for his goalkeeping abilities. He doesn't have as much senior experience as Roefs does, and may not necessarily push Areola for that number 1 shirt quite as strongly as the Dutch keeper might. But what about his credentials? Well, Charles, he's a senior Northern Ireland international. He's played 6 times for the Northern Ireland team. He too is comfortable with the ball at his feet and would fit well in a possession-based system. He's another one who is composed and he's got good agility and reflexes. But as mentioned, I think he's just a bit behind in his development to Roefs. Charles is another extremely affordable option. Transfer market is valuing him at 300 grand, which I'm certain Sheffield Wednesday would laugh at if any team tried to make that kind of offer. Look, for me, it's Roefs that stands out at the moment, but I don't think it will be Roefs who will be a replacement to Areola as our number one keeper. I really do think Roefs would be more positioned to be challenging either Areola or Hermansen if Hermansen is brought in to replace Areola. So might we be actually looking at 2 goalie signings this summer over just the one? I don't know. Let's get the one through in the first place. Let's get Hermansen in if it's Hermansen that we're actually targeting. If it's not, then I guess there's money that can be used in other parts of the squad, but we've got a gap. Maybe we keep Areola and we do bring in someone like Roefs as backup. I don't know. It's a possibility. It's quite plausible. What I'd like to see right now is just another signing, not any signing. I think they've got to be the right signings for West Ham. But wouldn't it be nice if West Ham board pulled their finger out? They've got money. The money's there. We've not spent all the money that we've got for the Kudus sale. I don't know what the delay is. I really don't. Let's hope. Apparently this week it was a keeper that was a priority. So let's hope that happens before the end of the week. Got a few weeks to go before the season starts. We've got just a few more weeks after that for the transfer window to shut. I still think we need 3 players: a goalie, a midfielder, and a striker. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Do leave your comments. Do hit the like button. Do become a subscriber if you've yet to subscribe. And I will see you all again pretty soon.